Hi, Paul.
Oh, hello, Lori. Hi, Jorge.
Hey, Jorge.
Oh,
Oh,
hi, Ross's head.
I see Daryl's
Gotta plug my phone up.
I love it. This is Daryl's going to be doing a cooking show tonight.
So, welcome to Back 40 Acres.
That's where every recipe that 40 Acres is known for was.
Started right here. I wish. I wish.
out of the kitchen. All right,
Are we,
Mercedes, can we?
are we on?
We're on. I think we're
Like,
not going to be able
live?
to Mercedes. Yeah, we're live. We are live. Yeah.
Okay, so we're having a small technical hiccup bringing our good friend Mercedes Barragan from Spectrum Health back. She's been our judge for all of our 5x5 nights at home. And she's also got a nice little text thread going on the side that we can see to keep us updated. So it sounds like she's getting it worked out. But we'll move.
So, in the meantime, I think Mercedes will be represented by that HD round circle
Yes.
Yeah.
thingy there.
He's sitting very far from the camera.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, good.
So welcome to 5x5 Night. This is, you're looking at the team at Star Garden. I'm Paul Moore.
Lori Sapinski.
That's Jorge Gonzalez.
And there's Daryl Ross. All of us are directors at Star Garden. And we are judging 5x5 Night. If you know nothing about 5x5 Night, it's fine. You don't need to know that much. It's pretty simple. 5 people will present 5 ideas, and each of them have 5 minutes to explain to 5 judges why they should receive $5,000. And at the end of the night, after a brief intermission when the judges deliberate, one will go home with $5,000. Actually, the correct expression is one will be at home with
one's already at home.
an additional $5,000 because you're watching 5x5 Night at home. This is obviously how we do the event during COVID-19. It is a monthly pitch competition. We will be back here next month, and I think we do this most months out of the year. We usually take 1 month off during the holidays, but it's every single month. We want somebody who has a crazy idea to get some traction and get some free cash in $5,000. And hopefully it's somebody that we get to start working with, and it turns into a long-term relationship with Star Garden. So our sponsors are the reasons that this is possible. Spectrum Health is a huge sponsor for 5x5. That's why we have Mercedes here all the time. We also have the Smart Zone through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is a series sponsor. And normally, if we were able to be all together in our room at the Star Garden facility, we would have to give a shout out to New Holland Brewing, who keeps beer always in the fridge at Star Garden, and Finn Valley Winery, that's always keeping wine on our shelves. Hopefully someday we will get to have some of that free beer and wine again and share it with all of you. Until then, it's just going to be Jorge going in each week and rating the beer fridge.
Right. How much beer have you had, Mr. Jorge Gonzalez?
I got an endless supply. What can I say? I got a beer fridge all to myself.
There you
But just so you know, I know that you mentioned about maybe taking a month off. Lori and I, and actually we're announcing it today, so I think it's perfect timing. We are having 5x5 in Espanol in July. I know that most of Star Garden, will be on vacation, but I wanted to make sure that, I am getting feedback from the Latino community that they want a 5x5 in Spanish. So just as you make that announcement, Paul, we are having one, but it'll be completely in Spanish. So you don't have to be Latino. As long as you submit your idea in Spanish, or if you get chosen to be one of the top 5, you have to do your presentation in Spanish. So once again, you don't have to be Latino. You just have to speak Spanish.
And by the way, I think it's the most fun, even though I don't speak Spanish. It was the very first 5x5. It was the first presenter of the first 5x5 in Spanish came out, and there was a whole band behind her that started playing live music and introduced her to the stage. That was the coolest thing I've seen.
That's right.
Oh, hey, Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Hi.
Okay.
Mercedes,
Sorry.
introduce yourself real quick. We've been
We're waiting for you.
Hello. I'm so sorry. Having some serious internet connection issues here. And we're live now, right? So like
We are
everyone's
live.
watching.
Yep.
Fantastic. Glad I wasn't doing anything weird. Hello, everyone. My name is Mercedes Barragan, and I work on the diversity, equity, inclusion team at Spectrum Health. Happy to be here.
all right.
Happy to have you.
It's great to have you back, Mercedes.
Did you have another question, Paul? Did I not answer, or are we just going around introducing ourselves?
We just introduced ourselves, and we were talking a bit about next month's 5x5, which is all in Spanish, which Jorge was explaining. Submit ideas, by the way, to 5x5night.com. Starting now. It should be open for idea submissions. And believe me, we see everything that comes through the door. No idea is too crazy. In fact, we like crazy ideas. Crazy people are a different story, but a good aspirational idea is always welcome. And there's always people that are watching thinking, okay, well, am I ready? Is it time? I don't know. Let me check out the competition. 5x5 is really, it's the entry place for anybody that's trying to work on something. And always we're open and welcome to, if you were to submit an idea and it wasn't chosen, reach out and just say, what's up? How can we make it better? And our team's there to respond to that. So shall we get going with the evening's event?
Yep.
I think
All right.
Good.
This is where we need to thank Murphy Ackerman, who you won't see on the screen, but she is making all of this magic happen. Also, during the course of the event, please reach out on the social media, give encouragement to the speakers. Speaking of social media, especially speaking of places like Facebook Live, where we're live streaming this event, normally I say to a crowd when it's an audience, you guys are the real value of the event. When somebody gets up and shares an idea, it's an idea that's usually one person behind it, and they're just getting started. The people that you know, the knowledge that you have, the suggestions you have, all of those connections are I will, Gerald, huge, valuable. So please use Facebook, especially Facebook Live, to leave comments, since we don't have an in-person way for you to meet the presenter.
And Paul has just demonstrated why 5x5 is limited to 5 minutes and 5
All
slides.
right, well, you
So
just,
be brief and succinct and great with your ideas. But keep the riffing to yourself. Let's go.
I was feeling emotional. Okay, go.
My bad. I appreciate you, bro.
we all do.
So these are the presenters: 616 Magazine, Dance Fire Studios, Noble Story Company, Chardaisy's Daisies, and Reaching Beyond Bias. And obviously we have introduced the judges. So I guess we're gonna pull in Shayna Harris, and she is going to present. Hello, Shayna.
Hi, judges. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
We're good. We're not,
Hey.
Very excited to be here.
it's good to have you.
I have no clue what to expect. Do I just go ahead and get started? Do I start by introducing myself? Awesome.
Whenever you get started, we'll start the timer.
Alrighty, I am ready. Creativity is not synonymous, and being a voice for one means being a voice for all. To amplify and empower all walks, beauty, and struggle of creativity. Hello, my name is Shayna Harris. I am owner and editor-in-chief of Six Magazine. Next slide, please. Six is a cultural arts magazine that exists to be a platform, narrative, and publication that empowers creative businesses, entrepreneurs, and artist efforts. Publishing a 80 to 100 page yearly periodical. Originating out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, we are a neighborhood source for artistry events, music, social news, and gallery events happening locally. Next slide. Within our first 6 months of launching, we've been able to gain not only attention, but social impact with our target audience. In January of 2019, we released our logo, Instagram, and Facebook. We currently have 1,161 followers on Instagram today, over 400 likes on Facebook, and over 250 subscribers to our website and monthly newsletter, consisting of millennials, Generation Z, Grand Rapids Art Museum, WIMCAT, GR Now, and locals who are eager to be a part of creative happenings. Hosting our first event in less than 6 months of launching at Link Up Art Gallery. Over 300 ticketed guests arrived to experience a night of art, music, and fashion, and all that Six Magazine has to embody. Tickets were sold at $25 and $15. Next slide, please. Six Magazine values three things: individuality, collaboration, and community engagement. We tell the stories of very real people who influence our communities daily and make them better to live in. We provoke thought and provide acceptance to every reader who picks up our magazine. Whether a dancer, a musician, artist, business, or an activist, you find yourself in Six Magazine. We are a voice of community, authenticity, and create original content with a mission to serve a population of people who are inspired by creative arts. With the help of Start Garden, we are ready to take Six Magazine to the next level. Next slide, please. We are ready to lower our production and our retail cost, as it costs roughly $6 to produce one magazine, retailed at $25, profiting $19 per copy. With the help of $5,000, we plan to make improvements to our website, offering new features to the public while advancing our competitiveness in our industry. We would design issue 1 digital copies that would be available to the public at $10. We would also develop a marketing strategy that would be better allow us to reach our audience with our physical and digital copies, as well as our events. We would increase our on-hand inventory to better be able to build partnerships with retailers and local coffee shops. For far too long, the magazine industry has been taken by celebrity news, scandals, we all heard them, and even false realities, which in result, according to New York Times, it is the reason for low engagement and low sales. And we are experiencing a rise in people who care and devote their money to the change happening in their own backyard. Six Magazine is honored to provide our city a platform and a publication to represent us all. I extend a sincere thank you to each of you of the judges for your time, and to Start Garden for the opportunity to pitch Six Magazine. Thank you.
All right, thank you. People are applauding inside of their homes right now. You can't hear them because of this situation.
I'll give myself one because I did it, and it was a big deal.
It is. For all of you at home, it takes a lot of guts. And it really does. Did way more this week than you did. So
you did great. I guess I'll open it up. I'll open it up with questions. The $25 tag. Can you walk me through how you came to that price point as a versus a ad revenue and maybe a lower price point for more distribution?
The reason that we weren't able to lower our price point and decided to retail it at $25 was, one, because it covers your shipping costs. Now, if we deliver it on hand, we will lower that to $15 if you are in the local Grand Rapids area. The reason, again, with not having ad revenue, it was issue 1. So we hadn't built those relationships with people who The reality is when you're creating a publication, people want credibility behind it first. They want to know what you're going to be talking about, who's going to be in there, who's being featured, what businesses can I compete with, why do I want to be part of this magazine. So for issue 1, to be honest, I had to prove that point that this is something that Grand Rapids wants and something that we're desiring, and then the businesses follow. Which
okay, so your ultimate model does include ad revenue.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
And did you describe that you're switching solely to digital at 10 cents, or I'm sorry, $10 an issue, or is there going to be a printed version as well?
Printed version always. We believe that people want to feel the nostalgia of picking up their magazine and flipping through the pages and how that makes them feel. So, I think that people will always want a physical copy, especially if it's talking about the people that make up our communities. But through COVID, we've been able to realize that people want something more tangible, something that's readily accessible at any time. And sometimes that is something that's digital, but it never really even affected our sales because people want a book to read right now, something that they can be inspired by.
And so it's an annual publication. So there's one issue per year.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So it sounds like you'll need to sell a lot more than 80 next year.
So I don't know if I ever even touched on it. I have it written down, but within our first year, we were able to sell over 250 copies. Those 80 copies that I have written on our presentation was at that event alone at Muse Art Gallery.
Okay.
That was the very first release we had of people having the physical copy in their hands. So from June to June, because we had the physical copy on hand, June of 2019, we've been able to sell 250 within that year.
Yeah. Now, it seemed like just from the images, there's obviously a clear emphasis on the diversity of the population in the city. But I'm curious beyond that, like sort of what do you feel like sets the content apart?
I think the content is set apart simply because it's authentic and everyone relates to some form of a struggle, of a pain. Everyone has a story to tell. So when you're reading and flipping through the pages of businesses that are accessible to you, or people that are accessible to you, or if they're not, that they're within your community making a change, people want to pick that up and read it because it's something that's real. Our content is original, so we are interviewing every single person that is featured, whether it's Malamaya Juice Bar and 40 Acres, or if it's the local coffee shop up the street. There's still a struggle in becoming an entrepreneur, whether it's creative or, just your typical traditional brick and mortar. Everyone experiences the struggles. And if there was a publication that made that more authentic relationship with their buyers, I think more people would be willing to purchase. When I was doing research with the New York Times, I was reading an article that said that's the biggest reason for low engagement and low sales, because it's the story and this facade that entertainment and magazine industries have always lived within. We always hear the stories of celebrities and what these elite people are doing, but we have no clue as to the great things that are happening in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Six Magazine wants to be that platform and that voice.
So I'm just wondering about what's your competitive advantage? Specifically, there's Grand Rapids Magazine, there's Women's Lifestyle Magazine, there's a lot of other. What I really find unique about yours is like you're really focusing on the younger generation, but also on diversity, which you open up a Grand Rapids Magazine. I'm sorry, you don't see it there. So I'm just curious as to, is that your competitive advantage?
I definitely believe that we do, because if you think about who's really promoting and highlighting the happenings of Grand Rapids Art Museum, the local, museums and venues that we have happening outside of a digital level where they could get their product or their marketing tactics within our magazine for an ad placement, and they're able to put that in front of a demographic that may be beneficial to them. 18 to 35 is our target audience. Those are your people who want to know what's going on. Where can they go on Friday night? What are the new places to eat at? We have a generation that are foodies and take pride in being from Grand Rapids and want to know more about it. They want to know about Jane up the street, who is the new local business owner of a coffee shop or an art gallery. There's so many, especially Black-owned businesses, just being a Black woman.
Right. Thank you.
All right, we gotta move on. Thank you, Shayna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will be seeing you tonight. And so moving right along, for anybody that's watching, it's a 5-minute presentation, but then the judges have questions. Sometimes we've got no questions, sometimes we have a lot. So let's welcome Devondre Jones, Dancepire Studios. Well, hello.
Hello there. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
We are excited that you're here, and also you have done a lot just to get up here this week, and so you deserve applause.
Thank you.
So yeah, we're ready whenever you're ready.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to plug this in. Let me know if you hear me. You just give me a thumbs up. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
You still hear me? All right, awesome. Well, when I start, you guys let me know. Hello, everyone. My name is Devondre Jones. I'm super excited to be here. So let's get started. Paul, as the original marketing director for Art Prize, I know that you love stories, so I'm going to share one with you. Growing up, I absolutely loved basketball. I used to play it day in and day out, every single day in the summer. It was kind of like the bonding activity for me and my dad's side of the family. So sometimes I still daydream about what my life would be like if I was a basketball player. And I could see it, like graduating high school, I would be able to, play in college if I wanted to, go overseas or play AAU or whatever. But however, I did my first love, which is dance. And so the same work ethic and passion I put into dance is still the same, but those options are not. When you graduate high school, for all the dancers around America, you actually only have two choices. You could either leave your old life and move to LA or New York and try to pursue that dream, or you can stay in your small town community and kind of feel like statistically not even dance anymore, right? And Mercedes, as a talent specialist, you understand that talent doesn't matter when opportunity doesn't exist, right? Next slide. So that's what we tried to do, was create opportunities. Can you go to the next slide? Cool. We tried to create opportunities. This is what Drop-In Wednesday is. We created a drop-in class every single Wednesday here in Grand Rapids, regardless of the Michigan weather, rain, sleet, hail, or snow. And tomorrow will be 182 weeks in a row. So far, we had 750 unique people walk through the door in the past 4 years. We've had choreographers from LA, New York, Hawaii, choreographers that was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, America's Best Dance Crew, World of Dance, you name it. There's so much success. We created the Dancepire Agency, which now consults with dance studios throughout West Michigan to help them build their business model and build their brand. Although this is awesome, this is not enough. We want to find a way to bring our best practices, to all of the Devondres in the small town dance communities throughout America. Next slide. So that's where Dancepire Studio comes in. Dancepire Studios is a virtual platform that's going to help dancers build out their ideas in their own community. So this is for dancers who want to enjoy their passion past high school graduation, for choreographers who want to build their name in their own town, and for studio owners who don't have access to quality hip hop programs and or instructions. There's going to be 3 memberships. The first one is access to content. So that's access to our Dancepire hip hop curriculum. That's access to our Drop-In Wednesday tutorials and all the other content that will come from choreographers on this platform. The second membership is group consulting. The third membership is one-on-one consulting for a little specialized help to build out their idea. The average membership will be about $35. So we're giving them a platform without the engineering costs and also business coaching without the premium price tag for a price of shoes. And Lori, we're giving them the tools to literally build their ideas and their pride in their hometown community, the same thing that you're doing with Newaygo County. Can we go to the next slide? So the question is, why us, why now? When you look at Dominic has been our developer for the last 6 years. He's the prototype architect when it comes to developer. He's so big on not getting access to his information or anything. You can't find a social media account and a picture of Dominic. But we met in college. He's been working on our website since he started. He lives in the Valley now, and he's just super excited to work on our project because it gives him all the creative freedom in the world that he doesn't get from his full-time job. Paul is our go-to video guy. He's helped create our whole visual platform or brand over the last 4 years, and also has helped our agency clients. Troy is our live stream guy. He's helped us take our in-class drop-in Wednesdays to now online, and we're now producing content for our platform. And Rob is the second-hand man in command. He basically knows more about the business than I do. So let's keep going. And Daryl, so you work for 40 Acres and you work for Star Garden. I know you understand that having a talented team isn't as important as having a talented team that has great work history. Jorge, I know you spent about 15 years in banking, so you're trying to figure out what we're going to do with this money. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to spend $1,800 on development. We're going to spend about $1,300 on coaching and data to make good strategic choices, and we're going to spend about $2,000 on paid advertisement. Without this money, we're not going to be able to be profitable until November of 2021. With this 5K, if you guys sign our name on that check today, we're going to be able to hit our 100 user milestone and be profitable within 90 days. So Star Garden, tell me, are you guys ready to help us build a virtual ecosystem for the small town dance communities throughout America? Thank you.
Well,
All right.
somebody did their homework.
Yeah, that's the way it's done right there. Go.
Thank you.
So just a quick clarification. It's a $35 monthly subscription.
Yep, so that's the average. There's going to be 3 memberships,
Okay.
and that's the average cost of a membership. It goes based on your level of specification for consulting.
Nice. And so what does it take for you to get to profitability as Dancepire Studios?
Yeah, so it takes us making about $6 to $7 grand per month, and that's going to get us sustainability. It's paying for its own self now.
And are there any other revenue streams besides that monthly subscription that we don't know about? How are you going to get to that 6 to 7 a month?
Yes, sir. And so let's say there's another D'Avondre out there, which it is, who probably have better ideas, who's living in Tulsa, who's living in Chicago, like Monyet, who's living in Detroit, like Gary, who's living in Atlanta. I know these guys. When they join the platform, and they create their own content on here, we're going to give them a special code. That code, they're going to make 60% of whoever signs up through their dance studio. And so they're going to make 60%. We're going to make the other 40. Now we have a residual stream of income from all these other communities to help us keep our platform going.
And so it sounds like you're seeing it as not just like your team that's building all the content. Like you're trying to become a platform for other instructors that would reach another community that you guys wouldn't.
Exactly. So we only have 5 minutes, so I couldn't dive into it too deep, but essentially there's a 3-step process here. We have a 4-year product roadmap to bring AR and VR to the dance community. So the way that this goes is this platform, we're going to start off with a platform. We're going to show that we can do this really well, and we're going to invite specific people throughout some of these communities. We're focused on 17 cities in 25 different states. We have people in these communities who are the D'Avondres of those communities. They're going to be on the platform. We're then going to switch to an open source platform, meaning you can sign up yourself and become your own dancer, choreographer, and promote within your community with your own code in order to make money off the work that you're doing. And then we want to white label it. Essentially, we want them to have their own Dancepire studios that we can create for all the dance studios and dancers around the world on our platform.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm always a big fan of the big picture. Don't shy away from it. It's only when it ends at the big picture and you're like, okay, so what do you do next? And they're like, aye.
Yeah, so this is a very strategic juncture in where we are. Creating this platform is foundational to everything that comes next. This is the heavy lifting.
Yeah. And anyone else?
I have a question.
Hey, Dan. Devon,
Go ahead,
Mercedes. Thank you for presenting. So I think maybe I got confused. So it's $35 for individuals to join, but that's not the same as like bringing on the other Devondres like across the country, right? Like, is there a separate fee for them? Are they getting charged anything, or are they just connected to you? Like, how does that part work?
Yep, just to clear that up. So secretly, Daryl's a dancer, and so he might join the platform. And so it's going to cost Daryl $35 to be on the platform to create content. But Daryl's then going to resell to his city. He's going to be competing with me in Grand Rapids, and he might have a $10 or $15 membership price tag for his community. That's
Okay.
where Daryl and I both make money. But for him to be a content creator on the platform, he's going to pay a membership fee because that's going to get him the platform and that's going to get him the business consulting.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, and so then the other distinctions are there's different kinds of memberships, so they can, you'll help them create content, you'll help them build their own community. So the consulting is built in, and that's for a higher price.
Yes, ma'am. So there's 3 levels of membership. I wish I had my presentation, but you have just access to content, meaning you don't even want to talk to me. You don't want to hear my voice. You got this. You're doing your own thing. Or there's access to content group membership, where we're kind of on a call like this with 6 of us talking through technicalities and how we can help them build out whatever it is, whether it's business model or content work. And then there's the one-on-one consulting where you're like, yo, I want you specifically. I want you to walk me through this idea. And we're already doing this work. We're just using the platform to be able to deliver this work at a higher number to scale that.
Yep.
So maybe one question if you still had it, Jorge, and then we gotta.
No. You got it. I'm good.
All right. The people all over the country are
Right.
applauding you right now, Devondre, as you're stepping off the stage.
Awesome.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
abrupt. Okay, who's next, Murphy? It's Andrew with the Noble Story Co. or Noble Story Company. Welcome, Andrew. How's it going?
Good. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to see
Nice
you.
to
Welcome to 5x5 night at home from the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
As I've told everybody else, people are just right now. People are going wild. There's lots of applauding and screaming as you come on the screen. Just imagine it.
Well, awesome. Shayna and Devondre did a great job. So hope I can do as well as they did. All right. I'm ready when you guys are.
So,
Whenever you want to start, we're ready to go.
Sweet. Okay, so I'm Andrew Taraskis. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Noble Story Co. It's a Grand Rapids-based company with operations in Michigan and California. Okay, let me ask you guys something. How many movies do you think have been made in Hollywood since Hollywood began 120 years ago? Would you believe that number is 550,000? Now, let's say you wanted to do the ultimate binge watch, because we don't got anything better going on right now. You're going to watch all of them back to back. In a true binge watch style, you're going to do it without taking a single break, not even a bathroom break. It's going to take you 34,375 days to get through all those movies. That's a little longer than 94 years. That's a ton of movies. No wonder Hollywood is out of ideas. Now, the sad part about all of those movies, or most of those movies, is they're what I would call noise, disposable, unimportant fluff stories. Of course, there's good ones out there, but the reason we started Noble Story Co., we can go to the next slide, please. The world doesn't need more noise. There's enough already. The world needs meaningful stories that deserve rewatching. And the way that we are going to achieve that goal is by focusing on the most important part of the film production process, the script and the cast. We find and develop meaningful stories into marketable packages, which we then sell to studios such as Netflix and Lionsgate. Now, a lot of people want to get involved in the film industry because it's cool, right? And most people do that by investing in a single picture, spending $1.5 to $2 million to produce a movie. But Noble Story Co. is about script development. You can still be involved in telling great stories, but it's a smaller investment amount that's spread across multiple projects with revenue starting in as few as 12 to 18 months. Next slide, please. So the market for new, well-developed stories has never been stronger. Content spending is skyrocketing, and I mean skyrocketing. Variety estimates that there's $120 billion that's been earmarked for new content this year alone. Let me say that again, $120 billion in movies. Or to put it another way, that's 2,000 SpaceX rockets sent into orbit. Or 1,200 seasons of The Mandalorian, if you can imagine that. This is the market opportunity that we're talking about. And it's even stronger because of the quarantine. Everybody's burned through all the content already. All right, next slide. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about our team. That's Adam, my co-founder and I up there at the top. We're the co-founders of Noble Story Co. Both of us are film producers with over 10 years of experience. Adam's Grand Rapids, Michigan based, and I'm in Sacramento, California. Most of our progress to date has been through our own bootstrap capital. Both of us came out of the faith-based film industry, and we've been involved in a variety of projects in that space, ranging from original series, features, short films, everything in between. But we are targeting the faith-based and mainstream marketplaces. We've also assembled some other people to help us make this a reality, including a media consultant with and a previous independent studio exec, our attorneys, and the guy Kevin on there is one of our investors. Okay, next slide, last slide. So the question you guys are all wanting to know, where's the money going to go? We're ready to attach top shelf actors to a series we're calling Hope Medical. This is an incredibly moving show set at an emergency field hospital in war-torn Syria, present-day Syria. $5,000 will cover the casting director's fee for this project. We've also got a script that we are closing on right now. We're always searching for new stories. I can't tell you the specifics about the script, but it's an important story behind a worldwide syndicated comic strip that all of you guys would recognize. And $5,000 would cover the first option fee, which gives us the exclusive rights to develop the script. And there are so many other ways that $5,000 would help us as well. Like I said, it's all been bootstrap capital up to this point. Okay, so let's get started. The world needs more rewatchable stories, and this is a way that you guys can get involved in the film industry. And I've got 10 seconds to spare, but I'm done. So take it away.
Way to go.
That's great.
So it sounds like you have sort of multiple paths, or that you're looking at going toward with 5,000. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So it's kind of like where does the opportunity lie for which project?
Yeah. And what are you guys most excited about investing in?
Yeah. So when you say it's 12 to 18 months for revenue, I mean, how does that break down? Like, give us a little bit of background into how the process works.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me use this project that I can't tell you about as an example. When we acquired the screenplay, our job is to polish that screenplay, attach actors and a director, and then we are working closely with the studio that I can't mention the name of. We'll do this all in conjunction with the studio, and when it's done, we'll take it to them and say, here's your packaged project. Because you guys didn't have to pay for this out of your pocket, you can pay us a development fee. And so that money is recouped by that development fee, which happens usually about a year to a year and a half after we acquire the screenplay.
But I mean, what does a typical development fee go for? Or is there a typical development fee?
Yeah, it's usually a percentage of the project budget. And in this case, this project would be budgeted in the $15 to $20 million range. And our development fee is between 5 and 10%, which is a scale depending on the budget size. So we're looking at $500,000 to $650,000, $700,000 for the development fee.
All right. Any other questions, judges?
Yeah, I do. So you're developing a script. You said also, did you also say that included you go in search of the actors as well?
Yeah, we would actually, we'd be working with a management company, and again, to use the screenplay as an example, the company that we are working with is the company behind Netflix's Ozark series. Okay. And so they manage a ton of talent. And so we'd be working with their talent. We'd also be using some of our connections to go after outside talent. So that's our job, to go and find whether it's directors or actors.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
And is this are there a lot of companies that are just, it sounds like you're saying you're going to play strictly in the sandbox of getting a project to development and then handing it off, as opposed to trying to get all the way to the end of producing it. Is that Is that fairly common in this space?
Well, what's common in this space and the way that we're structured is we have a separate entity that's structured to produce the actual film using the package that we've put together. So when we get the director and the cast and that whole team, we then transition them to another entity that's only around to produce that one story. And that's a very common approach in the film industry. And as far as like our competitive advantage goes, in the faith-based industry, nobody is using this business model. Everybody is making a movie for $1.5 million, taking it to Lionsgate and finding out that Lionsgate doesn't like any of the actors in the movie. And so they walk away with a $50,000 licensing fee for a $1.5 million movie. We're like, we can't do that. Now, in the secular mainstream market, this is the predominant business model. So we're using a proven business model in a marketplace that hasn't seen this yet.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, unless there's any other questions, I would say let's. The world is now clapping, Andrew.
Woo!
Thank you for presenting, and we'll see you later. Who's coming up next? Shannon Marie.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, Shaynas are dominating. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, I'll go ahead and get started. So good evening, everybody. I want to first just thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to share my passion project with you all. So I'm Shayna Marie, the creator of Reaching Beyond Bias. So I'm not sure how many of you guys are, oh, sorry, next slide. Slide 2, please. Thank you. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of y'all are aware of implicit bias, but essentially it's the subconscious or automatic thoughts and assumptions that we make about the people around us. So it often goes unnoticed, but I believe implicit bias is what I would call the root cause of every ism out there. So I believe that we can safely say that most people in the world are not explicitly racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, but we all have subconscious biases that determine how we interact with our world and with the people in it. So in fact, 70% of the people who took Project Implicit's implicit association test showed a strong, moderate, or slight automatic preference for white features as opposed to African American features. So that's the chart that you see right there. So when I first learned about implicit bias, I'm pretty sure my jaw hit the floor because it was during a time when the Black Lives Matter movement was at like its early stages. People were super outraged about discrimination in America. And I realized that it was the biases at the core that can determine whether or not somebody pulls a trigger, whether or not we tip a server at a restaurant, whether or not we follow somebody around a store. So the implications of this are super huge, but the beauty in approaching diversity education from this standpoint is that we can actually remedy our biases by first acknowledging them and then consciously reaching beyond them. Next slide, please. So reaching beyond bias is my vision to take this information and information about other diversity inclusion issues and disseminate it to Grand Rapids and ultimately to the world. So my goal is to facilitate critical conversations and to be the premier diversity training and awareness company in West Michigan. So we'll focus on awareness, outreach, community dialogues, and diversity field events. We also plan on launching Reach In, which is a podcast hosted by me and other locals, and we'll be talking about things like intersectionality, bias, local art, and much more. So in addition to that, we'll be doing our community dialogues, panel discussions, we'll be doing our live training sessions as well. And then we'll be focusing on different diversity months like Hispanic Heritage Month, Native American Heritage Month, Black History Month, just to do some kind of fun diversity events for the community. Next slide. So the $5,000 grant will be used to spread awareness by, for one, developing our website a little bit further. So right now, our website, reachingbeyondbias.org, is a resource for implicit bias awareness. So what we want to do is expand that and then actually add online diversity module courses to the website. So that way people can go online and learn about things like bias, social construction of identities, microaggressions, all of that good stuff. So this will also give us the ability to contract with local businesses so they can provide these trainings to their employees. We'll also be using the money just to market and brand our social media platforms. That way, the content that we're putting out is high quality and informative. We also want to relaunch our outreach video. So right now, It's kind of outdated. We want to get some Grand Rapids residents and businesses involved in that project. And then we want to invest in some streaming software and purchase a few more pieces of production equipment like microphones and cameras. And then lastly, we'll use the money to actually secure a venue, hopefully like a local business, where we can do our community events, our discussions, and our training. So $5,000 is definitely enough money to get this project fully launched. And it would be super life-changing, not only for me, but for the marginalized communities that can actually benefit from having a program like this out there. So next slide, please. So just a little bit about me. I'm definitely the right person to hold a platform like this because diversity, it's my passion, it's my calling, and it's literally my essence. So some of my background is intergroup dialogue facilitation for a course on race, class, and gender. I've also chaired diversity committees, and I'm a member of a multicultural and historically Latina sorority. I have a lot of experience working with the LGBTQ+ community, and as a biracial Black woman with all of this diversity experience, I have a very unique ability to present complex social issues in a way that anyone can digest it, anyone from any walk of life. So I believe this work is essential. I believe that it's potentially life-saving, and I think that Grand Rapids can actually be a model city for folks coming together during such an uncertain time. So I really want us to raise that bar of diversity and inclusion in our community, and I think we have the platform and the ability to do that. So I just want to thank y'all once again so much. Hopefully y'all have seen the relevance and the importance of this project, and I'll now open it up to you guys for questions.
All right, thank you, Shayna.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I'm the resident white guy that's got to deal with implicit bias for the rest of my life.
And Lori's a white female.
Yep. I play that role, absolutely.
So have you seen some traction through your website or any of the other work that you're doing recently? I mean, obviously there's the recent events, but also that's, we're talking within the last month, but even just in the last 6 months or a year, like what's the traction you've been able to gain so far, just doing what you're doing without?
So far, I've just been doing a lot of like networking and outreach to, local creatives and whatnot. So I've definitely seen a lot of interest. When I first launched this project, it was actually at Central Michigan University's campus. So we were able to get them to play our outreach video in every academic building on campus for a period of time when we first launched. So other than that, like as far as the last 6 months, I think the one thing that has really stopped me was really providing a platform that has, I think, the modules and the actual like training, which is what people are consistently saying that they need. It's like we have all of these complex issues going on and nobody really knows where to look for resources in order to get past these things. I think we have a lot of really, really open-minded people in our community, but they're kind of clueless as to, well, what kinds of conversations should we be having and where can I get this information from? So the goal is to actually create that portal so that it's kind of like a one-stop shop for all things diversities, all different social identities. So other than like the community engagement, I've been, networking with different organizations, different political groups, but we're very, very much in our startup phase. So it's really exciting to kind of put this idea out there in like a really serious way. So.
Yeah, so maybe a follow-up question, if I'm not, preempting anybody else, is how do you reach them? And by them, I'm thinking, in the past month, the amount of emails that I received, it was like a corporate statement about Juneteenth. I would have never guessed that would happen a year ago. So I'm guessing there's probably a lot of people like in the HR department or, the diversity inclusion team at different corporations that are like probably scrambling to take advantage of the amount of interest that's out there right now. So the question when I say how do you reach them, like how do you reach them, those sort of those clients that are probably ready to try to roll something out at their workplace?
Right. So we definitely want to invest into our like online marketing and branding so that we have, a very like clean aesthetic and we have that content going out. So the social media outreach is going to be pertinent just to start to get that message out there. But not to name drop, but I have worked with different organizations in the community that, you know, specialize in diversity and inclusion that are really on board and supportive of this project. So I have no problem doing the outreach and emailing, you know, HR departments, emailing small businesses and offering this solution to them once we have it live. But I definitely think the word of mouth, the connection, just continuously networking with leaders in the community is going to be super valuable. And even this platform here, like I had to take advantage of the opportunity just to get this idea out there, because I do know people are scrambling. I do know we're at a pretty critical time in our country where we have a choice to either continue to polarize, continue to be angry with this side or that side, with the left versus right, the blue versus red, and it's genuinely exhausting. But that's why I want to create something like this, because I think that it's something that everybody can really relate to and that it's really important. So.
Yeah, and by the way, a little shameless plug to the Facebook Live watchers. If you're interested in what Shayna's offering, put up a comment on that page so she can follow up with it later. Are there any other questions from the other judges?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. Oh, I'm sorry. You want to go?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Lori.
I mean, obviously, it's great work. How? What's your revenue stream, and how do you sustain this financially?
Okay. Yeah, so the main revenue stream would actually be selling the course module. So selling like a membership or subscription to the website where people can access the training. So if I leverage community businesses that would be willing to pay for their employees to have access to the content, then it provides an HR solution to them, but it's also spreading this message to everybody in our community. And then in addition to pairing with some local nonprofits. So that's the mainstream would be selling the access to the content. And then in addition to, you know, monetizing our YouTube channel, we have our podcast coming out that will generate some revenue that way. And then our events, we definitely want to, you know, have ticket sales for the events. So that would be the main revenue stream for now.
Okay. Have you put any numbers down yet, or is it too early?
This is super startup. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lori, you took my question, but I did have a comment, Shayna. So I work in diversity, equity, inclusion at Spectrum Health. Part of my job is actually to facilitate managing unconscious bias. And we work through the Cultural Intelligence Center here in Grand Rapids. Mm-hmm. So my comment is, regardless of what happens tonight, I know Murphy's listening. So Murphy, if you could send Shayna my contact information, my email and cell phone number, I think you have all that, because I would love to get connected with you, talk about your ideas, talk about how you want to continue to help educate people and facilitate dialogue. So I've been in diversity, equity, inclusion for, I think, 4 years now, but it has been the common thread throughout my entire career. So again, I say all that to say, regardless of what happens tonight, let's get connected, because I really, really love your passion. And yeah,
thank you.
I really, you're a very awesome individual, and I just want to get to know you more. So good job today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yep.
Mercedes, I think you're being humble. You've been doing equity all your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks, Audrey. I have.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else? Daryl, anything?
No, good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
The globe applauds you as you exit the stage. Namaste. And we have is this our final presenter?
Yes.
All right. Sharday Jefferson with Shardays and Daisies.
Hi, can you guys hear me, see me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I am doing great. Yes.
Great. So I am ready. We can go to the first slide.
Okay.
So hi, my name is Sharday, but most people call me Shardaisy, and I can be found at Shardaisy on social media, and then Shardaisy.com and Sharday Nicole on Facebook. Next slide. So Daisies will be a foundation for young women of color to learn about entrepreneurship and confidence building. There aren't any programs in Grand Rapids that cater to this specific demographic. And as you all know, schools are incredibly defunded, so you can't really supplement that in school like how I could when I was in elementary school. And growing up, I didn't know anything about business, and I also didn't have any resources. And I wanted to start my blog in high school. I remember this, but I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have Wi-Fi. So there was really no way I could do this to be consistent. And even when I went on to college, people would be like, oh, there's so many scholarships out there. And I'm like, okay, but how do I find these scholarships? Like, who's there to help me? And the answer was that I couldn't find anyone. So I want to teach young women of color about business while also building their confidence through workshops, seminars, and open conversations. And I really just want to set them up for success overall. So we will travel to colleges. We will have guest speakers. We will have phone seminars. And currently I will do this outside at parks because we are kind of still in a pandemic. However, as the cold weather approaches, we will do this in a space that I rent. And our meetings will be an hour and a half twice a week. And we will focus on new topics and lessons each week. And the program will be similar to Boys and Girls Club, but just far more focused. And there will be quarterly sessions for the girls to sign up for. And at the end, we will have a graduation. And after the girls graduate, I will still have recurring check-ins with them. So even if I'm 56 and they're 32 years old, I want to still have that relationship so that they can reach out to me as they grow overall. And the first 5 girls will experience the program for free. However, following that, there will be a membership fee because obviously you have to keep the business afloat. However, for girls that can't afford it, we will do fundraising options and other options so they're not just completely not able to be in it. Next slide. In light of what's going on in the world, it really made me think of how can I give back? And I think what's most exciting is just helping these young women develop into confident business women. And that doesn't mean that they have to be entrepreneurs. It just means giving them the tools to do that if they want to, but also just teaching them how to be standout employees and again, setting them up for success. So my target market is 13 to 18-year-old girls, women of color in Grand Rapids and surrounding cities. I feel like what's important to me in my life is to do impactful work. And this is something that will fulfill me. I think the impact will be economic success. These women will walk away knowing how to budget, knowing how to save money, knowing how to build their credit, how to find scholarships if they're going to school. But we will also dive into helping them find their voices so that they know how to say no to things that don't serve them. And they also have the courage to ask for their needs. And empowering these young women will ultimately help the economy because they will go on to achieve educational and financial success. Next slide. So I am the person to bring this vision to life because of my relatability. I remember being 14 and thinking that a 30-year-old was just like so much older and in a different world than I am. So the fact that I am 24, I'm almost like a big sister mentor. And I am still in the paint of, because I am a full-time entrepreneur, so I am still in the paint of that. So I can show them like how I'm still developing and growing my businesses and just how I built confidence within myself throughout my high school and college journey. Next slide, please. So with $5,000, I will get my business license. I will also create a separate website so people can learn more, people can donate, and obviously apply to be a part of the foundation. I will pay for our lunches when we have our outside meetings, and then I will eventually find a place to rent. I will use more of the money to set up field trips to colleges, pay the guest speakers, and going to different neighboring states where there are women that are in business for them to meet. And over time, I want to invest in laptops and iPads that stay in this space. So ultimately, it'll be a co-working space for young women of color. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Sharday.
No problem.
Anybody want to jump in with questions?
I feel like I always have the same question, but my question is going to be, how do you sustain yourself and make money? What is I'm assuming the girls that are part of the program have to pay for it.
Right,
So,
they have a membership fee.
So what are you thinking membership fee wise?
I haven't fully mapped out the numbers. because I mean, I haven't even started this. It's just an idea. So I know it would have to be something that's A, reasonable, but B, sustainable for a business. Because when I did competitive cheer, I know I spent like thousands each season, and it seemed like a lot, but obviously my mom and other moms were able to pay for it, even if it's in payments. So I think that I could find a number that is reasonable, but also help me to sustain myself.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
So I'm wondering if your idea when you thought of this, was it pre-COVID or during COVID, and what implications it will have? Because I know that, you know, we have a co-working space at Star Garden, and that's one of the biggest issues that we're dealing with, that, you know, when we used to have a space up to for 200 members, now it's only down to 90. On your model, have you taken that into account as far as, you know, the reduction of members when you do find your space just because of the COVID restrictions?
Yeah, so currently we would be outside, so obviously that would be like more open space. But I think as the winter rolls around, I wouldn't have 100 members because I can't attend to that many people anyway. So the number would already be something that's manageable, like a classroom size. And so I haven't fully thought about how that would work, but I think following COVID protocols with sanitization and just being not like literally next to each other, I think that would take care of that.
All right, y'all. Any other questions, or are we moving on to deliberation?
I think we might be
I think
deliberating.
it's time to deliberate.
All right.
Second check.
Thank you, Sade.
Second check.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, you.
Sade.
And so before we cut to deliberate, the what happens is we'll vanish for about 15 minutes. There'll be some things that are happening on the screen that Murphy has prepared for you. I'm sure it's mind-blowing. Please grab a drink. If you can, grab a New Holland or a Finn Valley wine. If you have one in your house. And grab a bite to eat, and we will be back shortly. And again, when is our 5x5 night in Spanish that Jorge is hosting? Jorge Lori?
Oh, God, what's the date? Oh, shoot.
July 27th.
Great.
July 27th. We will be back with 5x5 night in Spanish. So we'll see you in about 15 minutes.
So do we log out, shut our cameras down? What's the
Yeah, we
protocol here, T?
I think Murphy tells us what to do. Thank you again to Murphy Ackerman and Belen Salas.
All right.
Making
And you know what? Murphy just corrected us, and she's right, because I have the dates right here in front of me. July 28th. That was the day off. Thank you, Murphy.
Okay, Murphy's coming on the show next time because this is a little embarrassing. All right, we'll see you guys soon.
See ya.
Hey, welcome.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Hey, welcome.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Hey, welcome.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Hey, welcome.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Hey, welcome.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Share more about what's going on with you and what you're dealing with.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we've been live.
Good morning, everyone who's watching.
El espíritu de emprendedor no se ha muerto, todavía existe.
This is some bullshit.
Well, how do you create space that kind of that pairs with you working at home?
It's hard to judge how that's going to affect people.
No, it's just what you got to do.
I did not know that. Okay.
Okay.
Are we back?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I was muted.
Welcome back. Hey, welcome back to 5x5 Night. Hopefully people are starting to hear our voices and make their way back to their screens. And they're curious as to who won. Somebody did win. So what we do at 5x5 Night is we offer feedback to everybody who presented before we announce who won the $5,000. And what we're able to do on this platform is, I believe they're all watching, and so we're able to offer them feedback, and Murphy will bring them on as we offer feedback. Is that correct?
Oh, from my understanding is that Shayna from Six Magazine, or is she here? Okay, never mind.
We
Okay.
lost her for a minute, but she's back.
We're back in track.
Okay.
Great. So, quick. Oh, hey, welcome, Shayna from Six Magazine. Who is giving feedback to Shayna tonight?
That was me. So,
Okay.
Dana, you did a great job. And we definitely all feel like there's a great need for a magazine like that talks about creative in the community and just tells some really interesting and diverse stories. So we totally on board with what you're doing.
Okay.
I think, you explained the cost of the subscription was a little high because it's a print magazine. You haven't gotten into ad sales yet. So I think, those are some of the things that we think you might want to work on. We like the idea of the potential of having the electronic version, the e-version. And I think we also thought that maybe combining the magazine with an actual community event would probably be a great way for you to gain some traction, to gain some, just some community support. So all the way around, I think, you're onto something that I think could be really big.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that sort of what Lori was saying, to take it a little bit further, really taking that idea of a once a year print publication and making that the strategic advantage
right
for the company, that something happens once a year when this publication happens. That
Right.
seems like an opportunity.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what we do. So I'm excited for it to be regurgitated back to me. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Shayna.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you. Who's up next? Devondre Jones with Dancefire Studios. Welcome, Devondre.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Who's getting feed? Are you okay? Are you in transit? You pulled over? What's up?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Safety
hanging out.
first.
Okay, good. It's like it'd be funnier if you were in Meyer right now. But who's got Devondre's feedback?
Hey, if it'll help me win, I'll go to the store up the street right now. I'm kidding.
Hey, Devondre, can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I was having connection issues earlier. So Devondre, we love your passion for dance, and you had a fantastic pitch. We absolutely love your energy, and your passion clearly shows. I think the one thing we're looking or would like to share with you is around the technology piece. It might come out a little bit more expensive than you anticipate. So getting on a platform and getting all of the tech you need, videos, cameras, microphones, and then just sharing resources, it might just get a little expensive. So just I don't want to say a word of caution, just more of like a heads up, like, and how you look at your spend, because you may want to increase that area if possible. But great pitch. We absolutely can see your passion coming through, and you've been at this for quite some time. So you're not new to this game. So great presentation. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Devondre. And up next is, I think, Andrew from Noble Story.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Good.
So yeah, I think what obviously is interesting is the work that you guys are doing and the space that you see. Obviously, I think that right now, film is a really intriguing space with the sheer amount. I mean, like you shared, the staggering amount of volume of content that's being created and purchased as they're, kind of in this weird war to stream, as much content as possible and to have it as exclusive, while at the same time, movie theaters are releasing almost entirely like franchises and sequels, and so it feels like a strange, chaotic space to step into, and to also try to figure out like how to take advantage of it. I think that for you guys, one thing that was unclear was like, so how is what you're doing able to be repeatable, even repeatable on like a large scale, and maybe it's the idea of like, the sheer volume of stuff we're going to put out, is going to be able to be purchased by the industry. But I think when you were getting to like the $5,000 and what it's spent on, it's like, okay, so how does that create a model which, it can work again and again and again, versus, each project still seems to be like a one-off that, you have to put all of your eggs into one basket. And who knows, maybe there isn't a workaround for that. That was just, I think, one of the things that, as we were discussing it, that was what we were discussing. How does it become a repeatable model versus, each project is its own, unique baby that has to figure out how to get birthed into the world. But that's it. And I think you guys are great, and you're onto something. So keep going.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. All right, Murphy. We got the other Shayna is up from Reaching Beyond Bias. Hi, Shayna.
Hey. Hey, Shayna. Yep. So I give you some feedback. So clearly your passion came through, and I think given everything that's happening in the world and in our community, conversations are much needed. And I personally like to stay away from training because training makes it a requirement. Like someone has to go through it, and we know, right, as practitioners of diversity, equity, inclusion, and implicit bias, all that good stuff, that training alone is not enough. So just wanted to share some feedback with you in how big this endeavor really is. And I offered it earlier, like connecting you with resources, just connecting, and let's talk through some of these ideas, because I think there's a real opportunity for you to get even deeper into this space. But your passion is clearly shown through. It is something that is much needed. I think we were maybe a little unclear around the revenue source, because you really actually get into consulting once you start offering up training and coming in to facilitate. So yeah, I want to get connected with you. You did awesome. Want you to continue doing this and pursuing this. Because like I said, it is definitely needed in this community and across the country. So great job today. Thank you, Shayna.
Thank you so much.
All right, and then last up is Sharday Jefferson from Sharday's Daisies. Hey, Sharday.
Hi.
Who has got Sharday for some feedback?
I got Sharday. So
All right.
first of all, thank you, Sharday. You did great, and I just want to say that I'm very excited about what you're doing because one of the developments that we have been seeing, especially at Star Garden, is the uprise or upbringing or interest of the African American female in entrepreneurship. And not only at Star Garden, but we have seen that trend nationwide. So it's awesome that you're looking for a space where you can kind of incubate and nurture upcoming African American females in entrepreneurship. So that's great, and we are trying to do that at Star Garden, and providing opportunities in the different forms of capital. However, the one concern that we had, and I kind of mentioned it when I kind of asked you, is really, I know that you're looking at doing events. I know you're looking at doing trainings, doing networking, utilizing other people's spaces to, have events. But having your own co-working space, it's our concern is that we don't even know what's going to happen to our co-work space at Star Garden. We don't know if we are going to have to shut down again, and therefore, just I guess some words of wisdom as what we're going through. That you think about that you can still be able to help all these entrepreneurs and be able to do it, in a way that maybe it's virtual and maybe, like you said, have some outdoor events, but don't spend money or time or investment in a brick and mortar, which you might have to shut down, and that might hurt you financially. So that was our only words of advice. But great job of what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sharday. And it's time to get toward the winner. However, we want to plug Jorge's big 5x5 coming up next month. Again, it's 5x5 in Spanish, and it's July 28th. Am I right about this?
Julio 28, 5x5 en español. Mercedes y yo vamos a ser jueces. Sometan sus ideas y estamos listos. July 28th is the next 5x5 in Spanish. Mercedes and I will be doing everything in Spanish. She didn't even know that right now. So
I didn't. I'm gonna have to brush up in my Spanish. The thing is, entiendo todo, pero I'm Spanglish. That's just my
I am too.
So.
Yo también. Spanglish. So it's all good. We can. People with ideas can start submitting tomorrow. Actually, I think tonight, according to Paul. But I told everybody that they can start submitting tomorrow, and then you got to July 20th. But the most votes you get will give you the ability, just like tonight, to be able to be in front of the 5 judges and see if you can win $5,000.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. And for everybody who's been watching tonight, again, get on the Facebook Live, start commenting. All of the presenters did so much to do what they did tonight. It really cannot be exaggerated enough how hard it is to do this and how brave they are and how much thought and time goes into it. So all of them are amazing, and they should be applauded as such, even though there's got to be a winner. But they're all starting things, and they all need help starting things. So please use that Facebook Live comment section to give them praise, but also some support. Give them some real connections. Contact them offline about what they're doing. And with that, we are now announcing the winner.
The winter, yeah.
No, not the winter.
We might as well.
June 23rd, winter. The June 23rd, 2020 5x5 night winner. Do we have a drum roll, and do we have an announcer?
You can be the announcer.
You're the announcer.
Okay.
I don't have the big check.
All right. All right, I've got a check that I'm going to make look big by holding it close to the camera. Because normally we have a very large check. The winner is Devondre Jones, Dancepire Studios. Come on, and hey, what's up? Do not get in a wreck in your car. By the way.
I won't. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, I mean, I think you hit every checkbox that we would want to check. It's an idea that's a big idea. It's got a lot of ambition, but you really focused in on what you need to do today. You've got a team around you that's like complements the things where you don't have a lot of capacity, but they do. And also you're just working in a space where it's like, I don't know of anything or anybody that's doing this. I think the vision is original and good, and it's exciting to just find out how big it could be. I'd say. Anyone else?
Yeah, no, and I think, we love the fact that, you're developing a platform that, can be expanded and that you can scale. You start out small, but you've got a vision for how it scales, and we like that.
Yeah.
And I would just add back to Mercedes' point, she was giving feedback. Make sure you feel to get a hold of us, contact us, so we can help you with some leverage when it comes to, software development or, just connections. So the price point is not as high because we strongly believe that it's going to be higher than your projection, which is fine. But if we can help at all, we're here to assist you.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you after this. I'll reach out to, in fact.
Oh God, Lori's right in the worst time. I will.
We'll reach out to you before we die, okay?
Yeah. But no, I think what you're working on is it's super fun and exciting, and you got a long road, but it's always great to see somebody who is very clear about what the next step on a long road is, because you got to have both eyes on those targets always simultaneously. And I think there's just a bunch of cool people that we can help introduce you to that can help along the way. So congratulations. We will talk to you soon, and maybe someday we will actually talk in person.
So just to finish it off, because Lori dropped off.
Guys, I appreciate you so much. I enjoyed pitching. Everybody else who pitched, you guys are awesome, dope. I love the ideas, and I'm just excited to get to work done. So thank you guys.
Yeah, no.
Lori's gonna reach out to you tonight or tomorrow morning. And she'll ask you the information so she can officially send you out the check. But then continue, like Paul said, the next steps as far as how we can assist you. And for the other 4 ones that are listening to us, don't look at it as like, okay, this is I'm not gonna continue. Look at ways how we can support you. And like Paul said, they're all great ideas. We had to choose one.
Yeah, definitely. Do not be strangers. It's just the beginning of a very long journey. It's a very long journey for everybody that tries to start something exciting. So yeah, thank you to everybody who presented tonight. Thank you for everybody who stuck around and watched. Obviously, thank you to Mercedes for returning again as our guest judge, and I guess we'll be seeing you back next month with Jorge. I will not be there because I didn't even understand what Jorge was saying when he was telling people about the event for next month, because I didn't work hard in school. Let's be honest. That's why. Otherwise, we'll see you all next month at 5x5. Thank you for showing up.
All right.
Everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Night.